Right. So this is the last part of our conference. So I think hopefully you've enjoyed all of the topics. We've really tried to look at the future, AI, blockchain DLT, quantum computing, and so on. And hopefully we've left the best to last. So we're very lucky to have the GOAT, which is obviously the greatest of all time. Many would say in cybersecurity, and that's Bruce Schneier. Bruce, can you hear us okay?
I can. So I see everyone online. How many people are in the room?
In the room, we've probably got about 80 or 90
All
in the
right.
room.
Hello,
So there's a
everybody.
big uh, conference suite here. Okay.
It would have been
So
nice to be there in person, but
uh,
sadly,
that's great. Okay, we can hear you really well. If you could just speak up a little bit, it would really help us in the conference.
yeah,
So
my
today
guess
we've
is
been
that's
looking
going to
at
be
Gen
your
AI
speakers more than
and
me.
cybersecurity. And could you say what the advantages of Gen AI is over humans in cybersecurity?
Oh, wow. I'm not sure we know. So let me be more general. So cybersecurity, I don't think is a useful distinction. When you think about AI advantages over humans, I tend to think of them in one of four dimensions: speed, scale, scope, and sophistication. And when AI has an advantage in one of those four dimensions, you might want to use it. Right? So, for example, there are things that humans are perfectly good at, we're just not fast enough. So let's take, I don't know, spam detection. We're probably actually a lot better than AI, but we're just too slow. You need something that can detect spam, from billions of email messages. So that's just speed. The second is scale, right? That AIs can do things at superhuman scale. And let's see what would be an example of that in cybersecurity. Oh, I don't know, doing configuration changes over a wide variety of platforms. Humans can do it, but the scale of AI makes that better. Third one is scope. Think about generative AI, the extreme scope of their capabilities make them, in some cases, more attractive than humans. Right? Humans might be better at any individual thing, but the scope of AI is much broader. And the last is sophistication. So if you think about AIs playing chess, right, or Go actually is probably a better example. They are more sophisticated in their strategy than humans are. So those are the things to think about when you think about AI having advantages over humans. I like this because it's easy to remember. It's four S's: speed, scale, scope, and sophistication. This is going to change. Right? AI will get faster. Humans won't. AI will get more sophisticated. Humans are likely not to. We humans are what we are, but the AI technology is changing all the time. And so, similarly, when you don't have an advantage in one of those four dimensions, it makes no sense for an AI to replace a human. So the AI doesn't have to be better. It just has to be better in one of those dimensions, right? Worse but faster is often more useful than better but slower, for example.
Do you think Gen AI will make us lazy? I know that you're a great teacher. I think it's at Harvard. Uh, do you worry about the education for the next
I don't
generation?
know. Do electric motors make us lazy? Does writing make us lazy? Do pocket calculators make us lazy? Airplanes, do they make us lazy? I mean, so you can say that about any technology, right? I got into a car today to drive to the grocery store instead of walking. Did the car make me lazy? Right? I read a book rather than memorizing the text, as I would have in Roman times. Did that make me lazy? That really feels very pejorative, and I don't buy it. All technologies will change what we as humans do, how we interact, how we are in the world. And in many cases they will be labor-saving devices, right? I bought clothing instead of catching a sheep, shearing it, right? Turning the wool into yarn and then knitting myself a sweater. Did that make me lazy? Maybe, right? I mean, you can argue yes in all of those cases. I think AI, like any of these technologies, will change. And it's interesting because it'll change us intellectually. I mean, just as the internet and Google made us lazy about going to the library, even because information was available differently. This will change how we deal with information. And, right? I mean, I teach at the Harvard Kennedy School, and I grade papers that are written by students, over the course of a week. And sure, a lot of them will use AI. I think the criteria of grading is going to change. Sort of interesting as these technologies make us more capable, we're judged differently. Right? I mean, just standards of cleanliness changed in households after labor-saving cleanliness devices became popular. Right? You were held to a higher standard. And I think that's going to be true for written material. It'll be held to a higher standard. In the same way, a few years ago, we no longer accept spelling errors. And you turn in a paper with a spelling error, I'm going to fail you. Right? You can't use a spelling checker. What kind of ridiculous nonsense is that? Right? So it's going to be interesting interplay. And I think we have to watch how AI text generation changes the way we interact with the world. Already we are seeing AI being used in the legal system extensively, and it's making mistakes, right? I mean, it's generally really good, but occasionally it makes up a case. It makes up a fact. Well, it's only making lawyers lazy if they choose not to check. But that would be the same thing if they hired an intern to write their briefs and didn't check the facts. So I don't blame the AI there. I blame the human that isn't doing the analysis work. But this is all going to be complicated. It's going to change quickly, but sort of interesting to watch.
And are there areas where humans will still have the edge over Gen AI and cybersecurity?
I mean, today or forever?
Today, in the near future. I mean, we can't look forever, but in the next 5 to 10 years.
Have the edge in context and in nuance. AIs have the edge in speed. And the best things we're seeing now is where AIs do things that require speed. So spam detection, malware detection, source code analysis, right? I mean, those kinds of things. They're getting way better at vulnerability detection. Like give them code and they'll find vulnerabilities. And they're not that great. They're getting better. What we're seeing best is what we see sort of everywhere, is that the best teams leverage humans plus AI. Right? Leverage the best of both. And figuring out how to do that, I think, is the work of every team. Cybersecurity, just being one of many applications. As to, 6 months from now, who the hell knows? Right? This is changing so freaking fast that I defy anybody to make predictions that they're confident is true in December. It's a long way away in AI talk. And we're seeing rapid changes in technological capabilities. But again, speed, scale, scope, sophistication. Where the AI doesn't have that advantage in one of those, the human will be more advantageous.
Do you think the singularity, that's the time that AI becomes more intelligent than human, is going to happen anytime soon?
No, I think that's largely bullshit. Right? I mean, because it implies, the singularity is science fiction AI. Right? It's the AI, it's the robots in Star Wars or Star Trek, right? That's the singularity. And we are an enormous way off of that. Just to say as an aside, Zoom just asked me to confirm my language setting and decided I'm speaking Turkish. I'm going to tell it otherwise.
That's Istanbul.
So yeah. No, yeah. I don't think so. I think we're an enormous long way off from AIs being effectively human. They're getting more capable. They're getting more sophisticated. They're getting faster. They're able to do a lot more things. But it's still stuff that a 10-year-old can do well, AIs can't do. And so they're different, right? AI intelligence is not human intelligence. And the singularity tries to shove one into the other. And I just think that's the wrong way to think.
Do you think Gen AI will kill society, or is it safer?
Like, why would it do that? What do you mean by kill society? You mean like actually, develop weapons and shoot every single person?
Yeah, well, that's certainly one scenario that we've seen in Terminator.
Right. I mean, this is all science fiction. This is not real, right? I mean, don't confuse movies with reality. What do you mean by kill society?
Today we talked about agentic AI having a mission, having an aim, and obviously, if one aim is to destroy society,
Yes, one another aim. So this is, Ted Chiang, science fiction writer, talks about this. He basically says the whole notion of the AIs destroying humanity is like, where does that come from? Like, you could just imagine an AI solving all of humanity's problems or wandering off, proving obscure mathematical theorems nobody cares about. Our singular fear is this AI destroying humanity. And he describes that as projection. That, that's our fears projected on technology. What he says is that people's fears of AI are actually misdirected fears of capitalism. It's not the AI we're worried about. It's the humans controlling the AI. If AI kills society, whatever that means, it's because that's profitable for Facebook, right? That's profitable for Google. That's why that's happening. So don't blame the tech when it's the human systems creating the tech that's really to blame. And I think that's actually very insightful. Charlie Strauss, right? Another science fiction writer, probably lives somewhere nearby you people. Uh, he calls corporations slow AI, right? And that paperclip maximizer, that fable of the AI with a singular goal destroying everything in its wake, is basically every startup's business plan. So it really is the human systems that the AIs are embedded in that I think is the real risk, and not the AIs themselves. So, will Gen AI kill our society? Maybe, if we allow the tech corporations that level of power. It's not the AI. Even without AI, will Google kill our society? Worth having that conversation.
And so, how do you think adversaries will start to be using Gen AI for attacks?
So we're already seeing it, and so these are attacks, and it could be adversaries or our people, right? The NSA will do this too, and ostensibly they're on our side. So again, we're seeing AI for vulnerability finding. So finding vulnerabilities in code, useful both attack and defense. AIs for spam detection. Also, that means AIs for spam detection evasion, right? So those two arms races, finding and hiding vulnerabilities, finding and hiding spam, will be, I think, largely AI driven in the future. That humans won't be doing that, AIs will be doing that. We are seeing AIs launch attacks. So this is something that we don't know we'll have a lot of visibility in. I think in 2006 is the year DARPA, that's the US military funding agency, hosted an AI capture the flag contest. Capture the flag, it is a staple of hacker cons everywhere. Teams compete on a private network defending their part, attacking other people's parts. So that is it's supposedly great fun at hacker cons. You can spend all weekend doing it. There's competition, lots of competitions. So DARPA had one of those with AI teams, so non-humans AIs. There were like 100 or so entrants. There were semifinals. The final was at DEF CON in that year. I think like 8 or 10 participated. Lasted a day. A team from Carnegie Mellon won. I forget the name of their AI. Like this is over a decade ago. And DARPA never continued that. And I think that's really sad. But China did. It's called Robot Hacking Games. It happens every year in China. It is run by the Chinese military. And there, I think we're seeing, or not seeing, all the advances in using AI for cyber attack. That's where it's happening. So I think it has a lot of potential in mostly speed and sophistication. Right? Those two areas that it can launch more sophisticated attacks than humans can, and it can do it much faster. So I do think there's a lot of potential, both attack and defense in AIs and cybersecurity, sort of in real-time network work. But we don't have a lot of visibility in the details because, DARPA never continued that contest. And any work that's happening is happening inside intelligence agencies where we don't get to see it.
And Gen AI seems to be good at spotting bugs in code that could be exploited. While Gen AI could identify simple to medium level bugs, do you think it will ever be able possible to detect the 0-day type attacks or the high level threats?
Well, 0-day isn't high level. 0-day just means you haven't seen it before, right? So a simple medium level bug could be a 0-day, right? So here's what we're seeing. AIs already found 0 days. I mean, there's been bunches of papers where AIs have discovered attacks that the humans hadn't known about before. They are not that sophisticated yet, right? They will get more sophisticated. The odds are zero that we've reached the pinnacle of the technology capability from now till the end of time. Right? That just seems unlikely. So yes, they will get better. They will identify more sophisticated attacks, more subtle attacks. Question to ask is, does this benefit the attacker or the defender? Now, if the attacker finds this 0-day, they use it to attack systems. If the defender finds it, they patch their code and the 0-day is gone. Right? You can imagine as AI tools get better at finding vulnerabilities, this becomes a normal part of the development process. Right? It's embedded in the compiler. Just like now, the compiler will make your code more efficient. In the future, it'll make your code more secure as well. Right? We can imagine a scenario where software vulnerabilities are a thing of the past. Right? They no longer exist because the AIs find them all. Right? So while automatic vulnerability finding will be dangerous in the interim period, right? All the old stuff will be insecure, but all the new stuff will be secure. In the long run, automatic vulnerability finding benefits the defenders more. I think that's really interesting because that's counterintuitive. Like we think of it as, well, the attacker finds vulnerabilities. But a lot of these capabilities get embedded in defensive tools as well. And I think automatic vulnerability finding will be part of every compiler in a couple of years.
I think there's a new cybersecurity awareness campaign in the US called Take 9, and where it asks people to pause for 9 seconds before clicking on a link. Do you think this campaign will be successful in achieving its objectives?
Oh, no, it's stupid. Did you see my essay on this?
Yeah.
Okay. For the rest of you, just type Bruce Schneier Take 9 into Google and you'll find it. I think it's incredibly dumb. And it's because if you don't have the information, then pausing doesn't tell you anything. Right? Take 9 seconds and then do what? And without that, the campaign doesn't make any sense. Plus 9 seconds is a crazy amount of time. So they want you to take 9-second pause before you click on a link. I'm going to now take a 9-second pause.
A long time.
Every time you click on a link. Like, there's not a chance in the world any human will do that, right?
That was scary.
Right. I mean, that's like go to the bathroom level of pause. It's my complaint about a lot of these awareness campaigns is they deflect the blame. Right? The problem isn't the human. The problem is that links can be malicious. The problem is that a malicious link can harm you. Right? It's a link. You should click on it. It's a USB stick. Stick it into your computer. Right? It's bad system design that's the fault, not the fact that the human clicked on the link. Right? Because the human's just trying to get their stuff done. They got an email and it says to do this, and they're doing that, and it was a malicious link, they didn't realize it. I want the browser to protect the human there. But think about it, in other contexts. When you go to a restaurant, take 9. Go to the kitchen, check out the food, take temperature in the cooler, make sure the chef's pans are clean. Before you get an airplane, take 9. Go into the cockpit, look at the repair record, look at the pilot's training record. It makes no sense. We don't force the people to make those assessments. We recognize that it's more technically complicated and they don't have an expertise in food safety or airline safety or internet safety. And we build regulations that allow them to board a plane or eat at a restaurant without worry. And we need to do the same thing in cyberspace. So I'm not a fan of Take 9. I did write a pretty scathing essay on how unbelievably dumb it was. We'll see. It's likely to fade into nowhere. There have been any number of these campaigns to get people to stop and think. They all disappear.
And I wouldn't want you to get political. I know things have changed in the US.
Especially because you're recording this.
We have kind of noticed. And I know there's been changes in the cybersecurity setup. There's the whole drive towards this dodge, the reduction of the public sector funding and so on. What's your feeling about the way the US is going in terms of cybersecurity?
It's pretty bad, right? I'm not going to lie. It's not great. We're seeing, things dismantled, for no reason other than they were, Biden's work. And that's unfortunate. We saw his executive order on cybersecurity repealed. And, I don't think there's much political in it. A lot of it's common sense, but, we did see it disappear. So, I worry about the politicization of, things that are technical and scientific. But, we're seeing health policy destroyed in the United States. Cybersecurity is almost in the noise compared to, climate and health. And, maybe we'll get something different. There were times in the first administration where Trump would repeal an Obama order and then reissue it with some minor changes. Just to make it a Trump order. So, I don't know what's going to happen. It's all kind of crazy right now, but we will see.
And obviously, over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see the rise of quantum computers, and those quantum computers could break our existing public key methods. What's the horizon for our existing public key methods? Should we start to migrate now, or is this going to need to happen in 5 to 10 years?
So I take issue with your, obviously it will do this in 5 to 10 years. It's not at all obvious. It may. Right now, quantum computing is not yet able to solve real world problems. The quantum computers that exist are toys, and there's a lot of hard engineering between where we are today and a quantum computer that can, for example, break practical crypto systems. And when I say hard engineering, I mean hard in one of two definitions. Either hard like it's hard to land someone on the surface of the moon, or hard as it's in hard to land someone on the surface of the sun. Both of those are hard. They're very different levels of hard. And nobody knows what level of hard quantum computing is. My guess it's more on the surface of the moon type of hard. And 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, years we will see working quantum computers. The good news for cryptography is that the math is well ahead of the physics. There has been for the past bunch of years open competitions for post-quantum algorithms to replace the quantum vulnerable algorithms of today. And companies are already migrating to quantum safe cryptography. So yes, the time is now to migrate. You want to do this when there's no panic, right? You want to do this well before you have to. And the good news is that companies are. More important than just quantum is that our systems be crypto agile. That swapping algorithms should be something that's relatively easy. We don't do it often, but sometimes you might have to do it under duress, in speed. So the easier it is, the better we are. And I just want to see more crypto agility, not just for quantum, but for any other breakthrough that might happen, in the coming years and decades.
I got into cryptography and cybersecurity because I read your book on public key in cryptography.
Which is scary because that means we're both old. That means I'm older than you, which is even worse.
Thank you. I'll retire tomorrow. And it was an amazing book, and it changed my viewpoint, and it showed me that public key cryptography could do society a lot of good. So I know that you don't do as much cryptography now. Do you miss doing applied cryptography? You wrote the book on it. You did the C code and so on. Do you miss doing that? And B, what was your favorite topic in cryptography when you did apply it?
It's funny. I think people's careers change, and things we used to do we don't do. A lot of my peers from that time have sort of migrated into policy, and that's where we all sort of ended up. Because as you get sort of higher and higher and more general, policy is the lever that matters. I teach at the Harvard Kennedy School, right? I teach cryptography to students who deliberately did not take math as an undergraduate, right? Because they need to understand enough of the tech to create good policy. So, I think I do miss the math, but at the same time, I very much like what I'm doing now. And it's okay. Other people are doing the math. You do what you enjoy in the moment. Probably the most fun part of the math are those competitions. I mentioned NIST and post-quantum, but that is like the third or the fourth cryptography competition that NIST has run. The first one was AES to replace DES. And being part of that was great fun. It's a big crypto demolition derby. You invent your algorithm, you break everybody else's, and the last one standing wins. And then they had a competition for SHA-3, for a replacement hash function. And then there might have been one in between then and the one that's today, which is post-quantum algorithms. And that is actually a lot of fun. And cryptography is an interesting discipline in that, the proof is in the results. That, unlike paleontology or any discipline, if you come up with a theory, the math proves it or it doesn't, right? If I can break your cipher, it doesn't matter what kind of degrees I have. And that's kind of neat.
And Ron Rivest came up with A and B, defined them as Alice and Bob. And I think it was you that then created all the other names. What?
I don't know. I think Eve was before me.
Eve was before, yeah.
It's an interesting question. I don't know. I think Eve, which is the eavesdropper, was before me. I created Mallory, the malicious attacker. And then I extended Alice and Bob, Carol and Dave. I'm not sure I'm the first one to have done that. But it was way back when that we did that, yes.
In terms of the greatest impact from universities, you have this East Coast, West Coast tension. You have MIT, Ron Rivest, Shamir, Edelman, and then on the West Coast you have Diffie and Hellman. What do you think the greatest center of amazing research was?
You don't need centers anymore. It's the internet, right? The greatest center is where we all congregate. And right, this great work happened out of Haifa, right? Adi Shamir and his crew and Eli Biam. Great work happened in Tokyo, right? Right, MIT, yes. Stanford, yes. I think it happens in a lot of different places. I don't know if there are centers like that anymore. I mean, Cambridge, right? Your Cambridge. We can't forget like Ross Anderson, all the work that he and his group did. ETH Zurich, I would add that, right? James Massey was there, and others. That's where not what's the algorithm? Kind of blanking on it. That's really amazing. That's really sad. I can see it in my head, but I can't. So one of the early symmetric algorithms came out of ETH Zurich, and then they called Normale Supérieure in France.
Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for joining us today. I think a round of applause.
Thank you all. All right. Next time, I want to go to Edinburgh because I like Edinburgh.
And I know it's around 11 o'clock. It's about 4 o'clock here. So we've had a long day. So we're just going to finish the conference now.
All right. Good luck all.